Need a professional space to bring your vision to life? Dominion Television Studios offers state-of-the-art facilities perfect for your next broadcast, commercial, corporate video, or live event. With flexible rental options, cutting-edge equipment, and a supportive team, we provide the perfect environment for high-quality productions. Unleash your creativity. For bookings, email us at marketing@dominion.org.ng. Call us on 0705 506 1061 or 0916 101 1061. Check us out on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and TikTok at Dominion Broadcast and on X at Dominioncast. Book your space today. Dominion Television, your channel of choice.
Live from the heart of the action. Welcome to the nerve center of Next Level Broadcasting.
This is the OB van, where the studio meets the street.
Equipped with cutting-edge cameras, crystal clear audio, real-time switching and broadcast control, we don't just capture moments, we deliver the experience live.
Anywhere, anytime. From stadiums to red carpets, breaking news to buzzing festivals, weddings, birthdays, and all sorts of ceremonies, we bring the world to your screen in real time.
It's not just a van, it's a complete mobile production house, a command center, a broadcast beast.
This is more than a broadcast. This is the OB van difference. Live, loud, limitless.
Ready to go live like never before? Book the OB event today and take your event to the world. One powerful broadcast at a time.
To book, call 0705 506 1061 or 0916 101 1061. Email marketing@dominion.org.ng or visit our socials on Instagram @Dominion Broadcast.
Dominion Broadcast, your channel of choice.
Welcome. You have arrived at Dominion Broadcast Group, the home of Dominion 106.1 FM and Dominion Television, the heart of broadcast excellence. The Dominion Broadcast Group, home to Dominion 106.1 FM and Dominion Television, was founded and financed by Bishop Felix Owolabi. Bishop Felix Owolabi is a serial entrepreneur with both local and international business interests. The Dominion Broadcast Group is situated at 13 Palm Grove Estate, Iyagonku, Ibadan. It is purely a business enterprise and not a religiously oriented media house. The group was commissioned on Friday, February 14, 2025 and launched full-scale commercial broadcasting on April 1st, 2025. Kola Owolabi is the chairman of the governing board. Bishop Felix Owolabi is the president, and Dr. Mrs. Temitayo Owolabi is the vice president of the Dominion Broadcast Group. The media outfit is home to over 50 staff members who work around the clock to execute the purposes for which the group was established. We are now taking you behind the scenes to see how the magic of radio and television is made. Get ready for an exclusive look at the future of media. Our journey starts where it all began, radio. This is our state-of-the-art radio studio. From here, our on-air personalities connect with thousands of listeners instantly. Every voice, every song, every jingle is controlled right here before it beams out on the airwaves. This is live interactive storytelling. Now, let's go big. Welcome to a massive TV studio. This is where our flagship news, captivating talk shows, and dynamic live events come to life. Notice the incredible lighting and powerful cameras? It takes a dedicated team to manage this space, ensuring every program is visually stunning and technically.
Good morning, Nigeria. It's Monday, the 20th of April, and the conversations shaping the nation are already unfolding. I'm Oluwayemi Adelako, and this is Daybreak Live, where the headlines meet the hard questions.
And I am Samson Balogun. The day begins in Ibadan, where indigenes have confirmed that the rift between the state governor, Engineer Seyi Makinde, and the Olubado of Ibadan land has been resolved.
A development that speaks to the delicate balance between political leadership and traditional authority. But beyond the resolution, what led to the tension in the first place?
And more importantly, what does this reconciliation mean for governance, unity, and stability in Oyo State?
In a moment, Daybreak News brings you the major developments shaping the nation and the world.
And after that, we'll turn our attention to newspaper headlines and analysis this morning, where we break down the stories driving public conversations alongside our analyst, Emmanuel Abiola Oladele.
Then it's a big story, and this morning we examine a critical national concern, civilian casualties and counter-terrorism. Are Nigerians paying the price?
As military operations continue across the country, questions are growing about the impact on civilians and the costs of security efforts.
Definitely. And joining us for that conversation is Dr. Kuli Okola, security expert, bringing insight into the realities behind the operations and their consequences.
And we'll also bring you Trend Watch, tracking the stories, reactions, and the conversations Nigerians are engaging with on social media right now.
Definitely. It's a new week and the issues are not slowing down at all.
This is Daybreak Live. Let's get right into it this morning. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Samson. Yeah. Happy New Week.
It's a wonderful new week. And of course, it's surely going to be a productive one. As the stories are, over the weekend, they kept moving there and there. And of course, we now have the story that indigenes of Ibadan came together and said, look, the rift between the Oyo State governor and the Olubad of Ibadan land has to come to an end. And the CCII, Central Council of Ibadan Indigenes, they had this conversation with both of them. And according to them, it has been put to rest for good.
Yeah, even though some persons are saying, are we sure that this entire issue, they've been able to resolve it? But then if the indigenous say that...
Maybe this is just for optics.
It's possible. Yeah, it's actually possible because at the end of the day, how did we even get to this point? Because initially, these two people were on very good terms, especially during the coronation and even after the coronation. So I think the situation became more intense after the former governor of Ekiti State, dropped that statement. Exactly. And then he said the governor is trying to remove Olubado from office. And then maybe a lot of persons would not have believed him, maybe if not for the fact that there was a time, I think around last year, that I also mentioned that the state government received 50 billion naira, and at some point back and forth, and later the state government said, okay, we received 30 billion naira. 20 billion naira was not sent to us. So maybe that's why a lot of persons, believed him at that time. But then Olubada himself, came out to say that nothing like that, is going on. Even Makinde debunked that himself. And then away from that, he moved to, okay, Olubada is trying to impeach, Governor Sheyi Makinde. And that was another problem, that people had to deal with. Of course, the loyalists of the governor, the loyalists of Olubada himself. And then something funny happened. And I think the speaker, Adebo Ogundoyin himself, mentioned that, they tried to pay him so he can start the impeachment process against the governor. But because, the money is not even, he can't take money to sell off, his conscience, and then he doesn't think the governor, did something that should warrant, impeachment process. And so he didn't take the money because initially some person thought it was just a rumor, but then he confirmed that himself. And then away from that, we now move to, they are trying to impeach the speaker himself. So I think in the last few weeks, we've seen a lot of drama in Oyo State. And I think it's always like that because I remember when the former governor, Ajimobi, was done with his 8 years, the state became very intense too, because he was done, he could not contest again, so people wanted to know who will come in, to take over from the governor. And I think the same thing is happening in your state as we speak now. So going back to the issue of, speaker now, at that point, we also heard that they were trying to impeach him, and then people even linked the situation to the fact that, the speaker visited Olubado recently. And because of that, some persons felt, okay, maybe that was when they discussed issues around, impeachment. But then the speaker said no. He just went there to get advice and consultation on his governorship ambition, because recently he declared his interest in actually contesting for the governorship position. So he said he basically went there to get consultation and advice. So he had nothing to do with the impeachment process. So at the end of the day, it makes sense to me that they've been able to put this to rest, to assure us. I think even the House, they'll be back to work this morning. Especially after the whole indigene, and then people, even the governor, try to mediate to see that things go back to normal. I think the whole issue got to this point, especially because of the whole coronation. Right. I think this man now, Sharaf Ali, mentioned at the time that the governor spent over 1.5 billion naira just for the coronation, that he and the others did not even attend. So it became more intense because of that, and maybe that's why some persons felt at the time that the governor and Olubado are not in good terms because of the whole coronation and things like that. But at the end of the day, they've been able to solve it. They've been able to resolve the matter, and I think that's a fine place, really. Well,
this is just it's beyond what people are saying. I think before now they were both on they were on opposing sides politically. I think that should be in 2015 or thereabout, when Governor Abiola Ajimobi became the first governor of Oyo State to win the second time in office. So that time, the current governor contested under the platform of SDP. And, the current Olubadan of Ibadan at that time was in Accord Party. And, they had their, issues in the run into the election. And even after that, politically, after that, they were on the same side in the PDP. When Governor Seyi Makinde contested, some people would say seriously for the office of the governor. I think that was in 2019. Yes, they were on the same side, but I think a little issues, there are little issues about godfatherism and some other issues. Sometimes you say things that are, upset some people, and they might not really say a thing about it. So, you would begin to see that the momentum started building up even before now. And now, what really caused this issue is still politics, okay? The Olubadan of Ibadan land is not just, the Olubadan of Ibadan land. This man was a former senator. This man was a former governor of Oyo State. And of course, you could tell that at a point, he became what you would call an elder statesman in Oyo State. And, some people will go to him for consultation. So I want to be governor, I want to be this, I want to be that. And that is still what happened with, the Speaker of Oyo State, Right Honorable Adebo Ogundoyi, who also, one way or the other, whether he asked to see him or the Olubadan called for him, the only thing we can say for a fact is that he went there to see the Olubadan of Ibadan. Whatever happened in there, one way or the other, got out in the wind, and people had the knowledge of what they discussed, or maybe not all of it. But when you have a team, especially in a situation where Governor Seyi Makinde is, where some people have even tagged him to be a partyless governor. They can't even tell which party he belongs to. Is he a member of the PDP? If he's a member of the PDP, he's not a member of the recognized faction of the PDP, because right now INEC recognizes that of Nyesom Wike. And some say, in fact, including Michael Ogunshina, who happens to be the publicity secretary of his own faction of the PDP in Oyo State, came out to say, look, there might be a chance they move to another political party to conduct the election. And then they will be back in the PDP and then fight till the end, till they win this battle against the other faction of the PDP. So you might say the governor is under pressure, okay? Whatever happens in his camp right now will look and sound like suspicion. You would want to suspect anyone, that might undermine the chances of your candidates winning the elections. And some people are also saying, look, Governor Seyi Makinde mentioned that there will be no godfatherism in Oyo State. And, nobody should play godfather and or godmother somehow. And that way, some people felt used and dumped by, this administration. That includes Honorable Mulika Takode Adiola and some other people like that who felt like they contributed immensely to the election of Governor Seyi Makinde in the first time.
I watched a video where he said, I supported the governor, the governor betrayed me and things like that.
So you would want to, at least at that point, you would know that some people felt aggrieved that they were sidelined one way or the other. And this same person that came out to say there will be no godfatherism in Oyo State, that made him bench some people politically, and is now the same person that wants to anoint a candidate for the election, for the upcoming election. So what role does he want to play in that regard? At least there should be an interpretation of what role he wants to play. There has been insinuations around town about the governor will so announce his anointed candidate. I mean, that shows that this is godfatherism in plain sight. But as it stands now, the Olubadan of Ibadan land might just really have to a little bit step aside. Of course, I think over the weekend too, His Royal Highness Oba Ajibola came out, the Balogun of Ibadan land came out to say, look, the Olubadan has to separate politics from his royal stool, so as not to desecrate that stool somehow. But then some people have also had their fair share of, he has a role to play, fatherly role to all of them and the likes. But as it stands, has it really ended? I mean, the issues between the governor and the Olubadan of Ibadan land. I think that it might just be for the optics. Let's just give the people what they want to hear. But then this whole issue is still there somehow, because the election has not even come and gone. It's still around the corner. And until that is done, I think the issue will still remain.
Right. So I think some persons are even here to declare their interest, whether they want to contest or not. Because if I can remember, there are some names, if you check social media, they are trying
being
to
thrown around.
Exactly, to say, okay, this person can actually contest, this one can contest. You know, people now, they do their job just like, journalists would do. And then, so one thing I want to say, I think you mentioned something, and I would like to say that, we've seen it happen in your state before, that if a governor should rule for 8 years, it doesn't mean that governor, that same party, will produce the next governor.
Right.
Especially in the case of Ajimobi, when he was done with 8
He was the
years,
first governor to come back.
yeah, and he said Kosheleri, that was his
1999, it was Lamadeshino who became governor at that time. After that, he lost his re-election bid, and there came, Senator Rashid Adewale Ladoja, who became governor after that.
Right.
And after him, someone else came. I think that was Christopher Adebayo Alawakala, who first had 11 months in office while his principal was gone, and then he came back, he contested. He wanted to come back again for a second term in office. He lost. And, his brother, former governor, late Isiaq Abiola Ajimobi, Senator Isiaq Abiola Ajimobi, came on board. And at that time became the first person after, the new republic, I mean, the whole democratic dispensation, which was 1999 till now. He was the first governor to retain that seat.
Right.
And he did that. It was war, actually, because, it became so tense, the, political atmosphere became tense at that time, but eventually he won. And, after that, Governor Seyi Makinde is there. He also tried, and of course, he regained that seat. But who will come after Seyi Makinde is the big question. And even after that, those governors that have left, even, Governor Isiaq Abiola Ajimobi, who, did 2 terms in office, could not anoint a candidate. I mean, well, he anointed a candidate, but he did not win. That was Chief Bayo Adelabu, who is now the Minister of Power at that time. So these things will happen. But how do you shape it? Are we still looking at godfatherism in Oyo State politics? There used to be a time when, there were so many godfathers. There were leaders that if you truly want to be anything in Oyo State, you have to visit their houses one by one. It's not as easy as it is now when you can just say, oh, today I want to become so. And if you have the fund and you have the popularity, that you have, pure chance of doing it. That time, even as popular as you are, even if you have the money, you still will not be anything in Oyo State. I'll give you an instance. There was a founding member of the PDP, and they call him, I want to remember his name, Adeojo. I will remember his full name shortly. He wanted to be governor. In fact, he was a founding member of the PDP in Oyo State. Trust me, he did not become governor of Oyo State because there were powers that be at that time that said, look, you are not going anywhere. And, it happened.
Yeah, so, and I was speaking to the fact that you rule for 8 years does not determine that you produce the next governor. So we've seen it happen in states like Rivers State, of course, the Wike and the Fubara and quite a number of states too. But then Oyo State is actually a very peculiar state. And I think the politics...
Chief Yakini Adeojo.
Right, so I wanted to say that the politics of Oyo State is a bit different, compared to other states. So politicians can tell us that there's no godfatherism. But then, is that what we are saying? Is that what, is happening across the local government and things like that? And then majorly, I also want to point out the fact that, at the end of the day, most persons are waiting for Governor Makinde to say, oh, this is the person that I'm anointing for the next election. Even Makinde himself, when he came into power in 2019, before the election, I remember that some smaller parties also joined the PDP to support him, to say, this is the person that we want. And then that was instrumental to him winning that election.
Right.
Because, at the end of the day, APC was still strong in Oyo State at that time because of the 8 years rule of Governor, Isiaq Abiola Ajimobi. And now let me talk about, his wife now, because I don't know how she got herself in the mix, but then she's in the mix now. When you read headlines, you will find her name even in the paragraphs. And then why do I say that? There was a time that the video circulated online that they said that she mentioned, she said quite a number of things. And at the end of the day, she said, oh, that was AI, that was not me. But then at the end of the day, people are now saying maybe she has, or maybe in a way, she's connected to this issue. But she has also come out to the point that people who are trying to involve my name in this are trying to, destroy my reputation. I have nothing to do with this. Yes, we are interested in contesting APC. We are interested in taking back the power, but I will never have anything to do with impeaching the governor. But at the end of the day, we'll get to find out in the next few weeks before the elections. And then I think some other persons have also come out to declare their intention. And going back to the issue of impeachment of the governor, do you know there's something about Governor Makinde, honestly, that I love to point out. He's always calm even in the midst of chaos. I watched a video because people were expecting him to respond to the whole impeachment process. And he was saying that, okay, I have like a year, 1 month left before my tenure is over. That's if they don't impeach me. You know, he just said that, you know, he was very relaxed. So that's one thing about him that, you know, even when his other, you know, let me say people who are not so comfortable with him and his administration, when they try to throw a jab, he will respond in a very subtle manner, very calm. Even in this whole situation, the governor is still calm. He said, well, that's if they don't impeach him before his tenure is over. So good luck to the people of Oyo State, honestly. And at the end of the day, I think the people know what they want. Right. Because Oyo State is the kind of state that when it comes to the governorship election, I have studied election, let me say the last 2 elections now. I think people come out en masse to vote because I see that across the local government, and I'm not sure about others, but I've been able to monitor your state election. So at the end of the day, the vote of the people will speak. They will come out to vote for whoever they want to vote for. And then let's also not forget that the window is almost closing. So whoever is going to contest under the PDP, yes, the faction of the governor is yet to be recognized. And I think I mentioned, I think a few days ago, a few weeks ago on this table, that if care is not taken, some persons might decide to realign with the other faction if it's not so clear that they can contest. And we also have the contestant from the APC. Initially, people were even thinking, oh, it's going to be our minister of power. You know, initially, there was a time people were circulating that he resigned because he wants to contest. And then the man came out to say, no, I did not resign.
Some people are still saying it till this morning, that there will be a likelihood he will declare his intention to run for office soon. Especially
because now, do you know, people are trying to accuse APC that they want to give out ticket without conducting real primaries. So APC now, looking at the body language of Nigerians, they won't allow that to happen. They want to look for a way to conduct proper primary. So at the end of the day, whoever we win, we become the flag bearer of the party.
Someone asked me a question yesterday. They said, did you notice that since someone within the APC declared his intention to run for office, this issue of the Minister of Darkness has been swept under the carpet, and nobody is talking about it anymore.
That's Nigeria's way.
So could it mean that it was sponsored, just to maybe smear his image, and then someone else get a chance to come around?
It's actually possible, but one thing about the minister is that he has not come out to say whether he's not going to contest or not.
He hasn't mentioned that.
So we are not sure whether he's going to contest or not. So maybe when he declares his intention, then social media will be agog again.
Another thing I noticed is the fact that during that period when he was meant to resign from office as Minister of Power, Nigeria had serious issues when it comes to power. Virtually everywhere in the country, there's no power. Even the president mentioned it when he visited Plateau State and said, look, I'm going to leave in the next 10 minutes because even at the airport, you don't have electricity. And lo and behold, in the last few days, there has been a little bit of electricity here and there, and nobody's really talking about, if there is outage or not. Maybe it was a ploy for him to just wait, redeem your image first, let there be power, and then you can just say you want to. But, these are just permutations, combinations, likelihoods of what might likely happen and, all sort of things. But in politics, you just have to put 2 plus 2. 2 plus 2 might not necessarily give you 4. It might give you something different. But because this is, a lot of people, imagine, someone told me about Barrister Sharafadin Abiodun Ali, who declared his intention to run, and some people said, look, he was one of the few people that didn't even talk about becoming governor of Oyo State before now. And all of a sudden, scheming started. Some people probably pushed his name forward, and he was like, well, why not? I can do it. And then he started moving here and there. And yes, he has
declared... And there's Riyobi Amzatu of the Accord party.
On the other end, Accord.
Oyo State is going to be, I don't know.
What I see...
The drama.
What I see is that the margin will be so close because the votes block will be fragmented. Okay, we have different, we don't, if I may say, right now, the most popular candidates, some of them have not even said anything about contesting. I will mention names. Senator Teslim Kolawole Folarin, who happens to be an household name in the PDP before he moved to the APC, is one of the few people in Oyo State left in the Oyo State politics. There are structures everywhere in Oyo State. Has not said PIM on if he wants to become governor or not. Chief Bayo Adelabu, the Minister of Power, who is one of the most popular candidates, even at the time when there was coalition against Isiaq Abiola Ajimobi at that time, not to get an anointed candidate to replace him in office, he still had over 300,000 votes. That tells you how strong he was as a candidate in that election. Even when he moved to Accord Party, he did not do that badly because that party had no serious structure at that time. So there are still some serious candidates who might be the most popular of them all that have not even said anything about contesting or not. And we might just see, a huge shift in what we are seeing. And then some people who are not even in the race at all will come back and say, look, we want to be a part of this. Don't forget that you have always said this, that my job, there might be a likelihood that we have not seen what you call, the father of the, cross carpeting. What did you say? You said something about that. That before the election, might still see people moving from one political party. There might be shockers. Ibrahim Shekarau.
Just defected recently.
Just defected. He left the PDP, resigned from the PDP and joined the, even though it has not been announced, but then he is moving to the APC according to reports. That says a lot about the fact that there are still some people somewhere that are watching it. And until when that time frame is so close, and then you see them moving from, maybe when they feel like, well, I don't think there's redemption here, and I just need to move to another political party to achieve my aim, or maybe be able to contest in the next election.
I also see people leaving the APC to other parties.
Absolutely.
Why do I say that? Because recently I mentioned that some persons are actually complaining about the fact that in some states they are trying to give ticket to some persons without proper primaries, and then people are complaining, especially with the influx of some governors into the APC. Do you know that before these governors defected, there were other persons who were leaders in their state? So it has become an issue now, a big problem. I don't want to begin to mention names now.
Before
so
they
APC
come,
might have
be
a huge
negotiation.
problem. Exactly.
There will be negotiation. I think for Rabi Musa Kwankwa, so the reason he did not eventually move to the APC was because he could not reach agreement on what I get and what you get. Okay, I think it was 60-40. He wanted to take 60, and then the APC structure, existing structure, would take 40. And they were like, look, that's not possible, because this party, we own this platform. And if there's going to be any negotiation, it has to be 60 on our side and 40 on your side, because of what we know you are bringing to the table. And Rabi Musa Kwankwa, over time, has been able to churn out over 1 million votes in Kano. Back to back. He's been able to do it. And they know what he's bringing to the table. And if they could not reach an agreement, they're also looking at other people who might likely, bring something similar to the table. And that, for me, means that some people will join the APC, some people will leave the APC. It's going to be a give or take kind of thing. And then whoever gains more, definitely it will show on the
I'm certain of one thing. The balance of power will definitely tilt across the state.
Right.
And then good luck to those who are able to play the game better.
Well, good luck to them. And it's a convenient point to leave that topic this morning. Let's help you plan your day and take you through weather report this morning. And we'll be starting with the ancient metropolitan city of hospitality, Ibadan. What does the weather look like in Ibadan as we speak? Weather in Ibadan right now is around 25 degrees Celsius. And later in the morning, rises by 5 degrees Celsius to 30 degrees Celsius. It will be mostly cloudy with humidity at 1%. There is a promise of thunderstorms in the afternoon, while the weather increases to 34 degrees Celsius. And of course, humidity will be at 62% around that time. In the evening, it drops to 27 degrees Celsius, mostly cloudy. Humidity also drops drastically to 7%. And overnight, it drops further, just slightly, to 26 degrees Celsius. It will be cloudy. Humidity will be at 3% in Ibadan today.
From Ibadan, we cross to Lagos, where it feels like 33 degrees Celsius this morning. Later in the morning is expected to be around 31 degrees Celsius, mostly cloudy around 4%. In the afternoon, we have 32 degrees Celsius, scattered thunderstorms around 35%. And in the evening, it drops to 29 degrees Celsius, mostly cloudy around 3%. Overnight, it drops further to 28 degrees Celsius, mostly cloudy around 3%. And that's what we have for Lagos this morning.
All right, from Lagos, we move straight to the gateway state this morning, and that is Abeokuta in Ogun State. Weather in Abeokuta, as we speak, is currently at 26 degrees Celsius. And, of course, later in the morning, rises by 5 degrees Celsius, just like in Ibadan, to 31 degrees Celsius. It will be mostly cloudy. Humidity will be around 1%. And there will be a promise of isolated thunderstorms in Ibadan today. And weather rises to 34 degrees Celsius, humidity at 31%. By evening, it drops to 28 degrees Celsius. It will be mostly cloudy, humidity at 10%. And overnight, it drops further to 26 degrees Celsius, similar to that of Ibadan, mostly cloudy, and humidity will be at 3% right there at the gateway state today.
And of course, from Ogun State, let's cross to Osun. Sobo this morning, weather feels like 24 degrees Celsius. Later in the morning is expected to be around 30 degrees Celsius. mostly cloudy around 1%. In the afternoon, we have 34 degrees Celsius, scattered thunderstorms around 52%. In the evening, it drops to 26%, 26 degrees Celsius, and mostly cloudy around 3%. And overnight, it drops further to 25 degrees Celsius, cloudy around 3%, and that's what we have for Ocean this morning.
Right, looks like weather in the southwestern states this morning are quite similar. And right now in Ekiti Southwest, weather is currently at 23 degrees Celsius. It will rise to 29 degrees Celsius later in the morning, mostly cloudy, humidity at 2%. And by afternoon, it rises further to 33 degrees Celsius. There will be scattered thunderstorms in Ekiti, and humidity will be around 47%. And by evening, it drops to 26 degrees Celsius, mostly cloudy, humidity at 3%. And overnight, the weather also drops to 24 degrees Celsius. It will be foggy, and of course, humidity will be around 4% right there in Ekiti today.
From Ekiti, let's cross to Ilorin, West Kwara. Weather feels like 26 degrees Celsius this morning, and later in the morning is expected to be around 31 degrees Celsius, mostly cloudy around 1%. In the afternoon, we have 36 degrees Celsius, mostly cloudy around 0%. And in the evening, it drops to 29 degrees Celsius, mostly cloudy around 3%. And overnight, it drops further to 26 degrees Celsius, cloudy around 2%. And that's what we have for Ilorin this morning.
And just before we leave the south totally, let's take this one from Port Harcourt, Rivers State. And weather in Port Harcourt right now is currently at 22 degrees Celsius. And later in the morning rises by 6 degrees Celsius to 28 degrees Celsius. It will be mostly cloudy. Humidity will be around 37%. Will be around 10% rather. By afternoon, it rises slightly to 29 degrees Celsius with promise of showers in Port Harcourt today, and humidity rises to 37%. It will be mostly cloudy in the evening, and it drops to 24 degrees Celsius with humidity also dropping drastically to 13%. And overnight, weather also drops to 20 degrees Celsius. It will be foggy right there, and humidity will be at 8% in Port Harcourt, Rivers State today.
From Port Harcourt, let's cross to Maiduguri, Borno State. Weather feels like 26 degrees Celsius this morning, and later is expected to be around 36 degrees Celsius, partly cloudy around 0%. In the afternoon, we have 40 degrees Celsius, mostly cloudy around 0% as well. In the evening, it drops to 32 degrees Celsius, mostly cloudy around 0%. And overnight, it drops further to 27 degrees Celsius, mostly clear around 0%. And that's what we have for Maiduguri, Borno this morning.
All right, a quick talk to the largest state in Nigeria, and that is Suleja in Niger State. Weather in Suleja as we speak is around 28 degrees Celsius. And it will rise further to 32 degrees Celsius later in the morning. It will be mostly cloudy with zero chance of humidity. And by afternoon, it will remain mostly cloudy. Weather rises to 38 degrees Celsius and zero chance of humidity. By evening, it drops to 30 degrees Celsius, remaining mostly cloudy. Humidity will be at 1%. And overnight, it drops again to 26 degrees Celsius, mostly cloudy. Humidity at 4% right there in Suleja, Niger State today.
From Suleja, let's cross to Kano Municipal, and weather this morning feels like 24 degrees Celsius. Later in the morning is expected to be around 33 degrees Celsius, mostly cloudy around 0%. In the afternoon, we have 39 degrees Celsius, partly cloudy around 0%. And in the evening, it drops to 32 degrees Celsius, clear around 0%. And overnight, it drops further to 26 degrees Celsius, mostly clear around 0%. And that's what we have for Kano this morning.
All right, lastly on weather report this morning, we'll take this one from the FCT, Federal Capital Territory. Right now in Abuja, weather is currently at 26 degrees Celsius. It will rise to 32 degrees Celsius later in the morning, mostly cloudy, zero chance of humidity. And by afternoon, rises further to 37 degrees Celsius, mostly cloudy, zero chance of humidity. By evening, it drops to 30 degrees Celsius, remaining mostly cloudy with zero chance of humidity. And overnight, it will be mostly cloudy. Weather drops to 27 degrees Celsius, and humidity will be at 4% in Abuja, the Federal Capital Territory, today. And that will be all we can take on weather report this morning. Do well to link up with us on all social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at Dominion Broadcast, and on X, formerly Twitter, at Dominion Cast. You can watch us live on our website at www.dominion.org.ng, dominion.org.ng. Right, it will be a convenient point to leave that this morning. Let's go on a quick break, When we return, we'll take the news. We'll be back.
Welcome you back. Thank you for staying with us this morning. This is Newspaper Headlines and Analysis. I'm Uluayemi Adelako. I'm not alone in the studio this morning. I have with me Emmanuel Abiola Oladele, entrepreneur and public affairs analyst. Welcome this morning.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, good morning to you. Let's start with New Telegraph and, of course, the banner headline that says insecurity, reintegration dangerous as terrorism existential threat to nation. That's coming from the ADC, of course, the opposition party. Nobody is safe now. Everyone must be vigilant, security conscious, prayerful. That's coming from CAN. And, of course, urges government to beef up security. Security forces rescue remaining 13 abducted Benue bus passengers. So let's talk about the reintegration, because, I mean, the news broke last week about 700 persons, graduated recently, the rehabilitation process. So they might be integrated into the system. And then the ADC and, of course, where many Nigerians are saying, why should we do that? Why are we trying to reintegrate them back into the society, even after everything that they have done? And I remember that at the time, a top person in the army said that, these people, they are our brothers. So regardless what they have done in the past, we should still treat them like human beings. And then so many persons, go hungry with that statement to see that, okay, what about the people they've killed in the past? So should we let bygone be bygone? Do you think this reintegration is the best thing that we can do for the country right now?
Yeah, I'll start by asking a question. Right?
Okay.
It's a rhetoric anyway,
Okay.
but the question is, if the son of a senator had been killed by one of these bandits or terrorists that has been integrated, as it is said in quotes,
Yeah.
would they be our brother? If one of the senator's son or daughter was killed, would they be our brother? So personally, I'm of the opinion that you can take a pig take it from its raving and take it, wash it clean and all that. A pig will always be a pig. We always go back to that dirty place. However, now you see this the reintegrated terrorists.
System, yeah.
What they're doing is that they're educating them. But you know something about terrorism is that terrorism is not only in shooting gun and throwing bombs. Terrorism includes financing. Terrorism includes strategy. Terrorism includes recruitment. So all these things, what they did was just that they now educated them to be more informed, to carry out more, strategic attacks. That's what I believe is, whatever this system is in place is a faulty one down to the root. So I see it as a facade. I see it as, I don't look kindly to it at all.
Okay.
Reintegrating them back into Nigerian society. If a murder suspect or a murder violent attacker had done something, they will sentence him to 23 years imprisonment, life imprisonment. What they've done is not different. Killing people with weapons intentionally in the name of so-called cause or whatever, that is even more grievous. Can't you grant amnesty to a murder suspect or a murder convict? So if an amnesty cannot be granted to him, therefore amnesty must not be granted to them. Whatever is being done to them, the terrorists. So I believe it's a facade. I believe it's something that will crumble in their face, even though they might not be carrying guns anymore. They've educated them to do better. That's what I've seen.
Do you think that we enhance the ideology? Because terrorism is also about ideology. What these people believe in.
That's it. You see in Iran, you see in Iraq, you've seen in Afghanistan, you've seen top terrorist people who have never touched guns. But what have they done? They've made to key players. They've brought different jihadist groups together to collaborate. They financed them. So you see, finance. There is one thing called, I think this is a long shot, but you see war on terrorism financing.
Okay.
You see war on whatever. So what I'm just saying in essence is that it is a facade and it will crumble in their faces.
All right. So beyond that, I want to believe that they will decide whatsoever it is they want.
No, they don't have to decide. It's decided for them already. That's my belief. I'm really pained about this. Whatever.
All right.
It's a joke.
Okay. I get it. Let's cross to Nigerian Tribune and take this headline. That says, Makinde Olubadan issue resolved. That's coming from the CCII. Do you believe that statement, or you think it's just for the optics? Because, Oyo State House Speaker now is I don't know what word to say now, because I'm being careful now. I think the situation is rather intense, because the current governor cannot contest anymore, and so another person will have to come up to become the governor. But then this rift between these two individuals, do you think it has come to an end totally?
Of course, not totally. I think there has been a major shift in what is happening between the two persons involved. Personally, I'm shocked.
Okay.
I was shocked when I heard of the rift between these two persons. If I believe, I'm of the opinion, not a fact, that the Olubado of Ibadan played a major role in success of Seyi Makinde in both terms, first and the second. So there being a rift amongst them, that says a lot. And I really don't know whose fault. I think the issue is not public. What caused the fight is not public.
Do you think he has something to do with the coronation?
Of course,
not his own coronation. Not his own coronation. Those who were actually in the absence.
Yes, of course. And I believe that whatever is happening, I just hope that Seyi Makinde is not being pushed by some sycophant. I just hope so, that he's doing it in the best times, best of his times and best of his knowledge. So I hope that whatever is the cause of this rift is not out of absent-mindedness. Is in true fact something that is important. You get there might be a fight between two persons,
right? But
might be useless and might not be relevant.
Okay.
So, but however, I believe that what the CCI have done so far is just to be like a midwife, just try to be a mediator. Just to bring a shift in the issue. So, not totally, like I said, but something. If they are coming out, CCI is a credible source. I'll accept that. So if they are coming out to say, there's a progress, I believe so much.
All right. From that headline, let's cross to another one that says, SANU threatens indefinite strike after April 30 over lingering negotiations. Should we expect another major strike if they don't find a way to actually negotiate properly with the government?
All right, I've been a critic of this administration, the presidency. However, one way they've done well, I would give them their flowers. It's the issue of this strike, and you see there has been drastic reduction in strike actions in all of the sectors.
We've not seen strike actually in the last 3 years.
So I will give them their flowers. They've done so well. So, like, if we judge based on their precedence, there might not be any strike and there might not be any issue. They will come back to the round table and resolve it. So I have that trust. In fact, I'm so happy that I can say it, that I trust this administration on this issue.
Okay.
So yeah, let's see something. So I believe something good is going to happen for Sam.
All right. Okay. Let's talk about this offer robbery. There's this headline that says our federal DPP cleared Saraki. So something funny is going on between Saraki and, of course, the governor. A robbery attack that happened in 2018, and of course, a certain name was mentioned. I would love to read you the paragraph so that I can bring you up to speed on that particular story. So the Kwara State government filed a 20-count charge against former state president Bukola Saraki and former governor Abdul Fattah Ahmed over the alleged arming of suspect convicted in the April 2018 offer bank robbery. So the case was filed after the Court of Appeal upheld the convictions of suspects, including Ayo Akenebosun, who had allegedly confessed during trial to being a hitman of Saraki's political dynasty. Saraki and others are to face charges including culpable homicide and criminal conspiracy, among others. They'll be arraigned before Justice Alima Salman of the Kwara State High Court in Ilori come June 4. So Saraki is trying to say, oh, these people are trying to destroy my political career. And so imagine something that happened in 2018, you are trying to link that to me now. But then, according to what I read now, the man, that Ayo, confessed that, is one of his hitman. What do you make of this, story, basically?
Yeah, to start with, there's a principle in law which says that an evidence in a previous case cannot be used in another case unless the facts and something are relevant, or not just relevant, the same.
Okay.
So in essence, although he has confessed, the said man has confessed, but it goes to no issue for Saraki at the moment. It has to be proved to a large extent before it can be of substantial. So it's just whatever he has confessed is as to his case, not as to Saraki's case. So, but it's really suspicion in the mind of an ordinary average man. So yes, we get up. Now coming to the issue of Saraki's reputation and all. In fact, I'm personally questioning the charge being filed. I think I read the charge, like 20-count charge, and murder and all, homicide. Culpable, all the like. So I'm quite suspicious of it. In fact, in my research, I was considering that was Saraki contesting for a post, but I realized that he's not even contesting for anything.
No, he's not.
He's not even bidding for the presidency. Like, he doesn't have any agenda. So I'm still surprised as to why this is coming now. Now, 2018 to 2026, that's 8 years apart. So why now? That's my question. And you see, Nigerian justice system has been a tool in the hand of political parties, especially the ruling ones, as to oppress the opposition. So at the moment, we see APC is ruling the Kwara State. So I mean, it might be a strategy on their part. I don't know. I believe there might be a merit. I'm not supporting whatever allegation has been raised against Saraki, but I'm questioning the timing of it all. Why now? So if indeed there's something for him to answer, it's good that it's in court. Let the court decide what is going to happen to him. But then my concern also is that, like I said, the justice system is being manipulated at this time. So even though something is done, it will still raise questions in the heart of an average man. So I see it as a tool, majorly. Saraki is, at this time, he's not even contesting for anything. So like, he has no interest in, or maybe he's a godfather, of course he is, but he has no interest in any
Never said about him contest. He might decide to.
He might decide to, but the timing is late. Even though he's a big man, but not that much.
Okay,
so.
but speaking about the 8 years now, what I've seen in Nigeria is that sometimes it will take EFCC 8-10 years to bring back a case. And then when people ask the question that, why is it that you don't have that capacity to solve a case, within 2 or 3 years? And they said they need more time to investigate properly, because sometimes when they take the case to court, the court will say, okay, this case has no stand, and because of that, you cannot, do this to this person. And so that's why they decide to take their time more. Is that a good defense?
Yeah, it is actually. I mean, even though we fought them on delay, but then they need time to investigate. However, the timing...
8 years?
8 years, thank you so much. There's a principle, pardon me again, there's a principle in law which says that, I can't remember, I can't quote it verbatim, but it says that the time in which a witness gives his evidence, if it lapses a normal time in which an average man can recollect his memory, it should not be accepted. So in the sense that if you can't remember a thing in the last 2 years,
okay,
your evidence regarding that thing will be discredited, will not be allowed. So imagine there's a principle of law saying that. Now, a witness, if you're calling a witness now 8 years has lapsed.
Okay.
What do you expect the witness to talk about of the things that happened 8 years ago? So yes, they need time to investigate. And if their case is good, even though it's 8 years, even though it's 10 years, there are usually no limitation on the period in which...
Because even cases of 20 years, people can still
be
bring it back.
prosecuted. Yes, exactly. Yeah. However, it does not speak well. That's just it. It's the optics anyway, not the fact. The fact is that it is right. They can bring it at this time, but it's the optics. The optics is that why now? It's far apart. So
because even beyond Nigeria, apart from movies, I do movies, but then I think it happens in these Western countries that they revisit a case even 20, 30 years, especially when they have new evidence.
Yeah, I recently saw a news about a serial killer. Although the serial killer has been arrested and jailed, but there was an unsolved case. I think over 25 years. But a revisitation to the case, and then a simple evidence that came out connected the serial killer to the cold case, to the unsolved case. So yeah, even though he has been jailed, but it just says that yes, there's no time limitation to criminal prosecution and also. But then I don't pity Saraki. I'm not a big fan of his, but then I'm just being unbiased at this moment as to why now.
All right, okay. Let's talk about Jambites now. Good luck to the Jambites, because I think some of them have sent their results while some are still trying. Even me, I didn't check myself. I didn't check. I had to tell one of my siblings to check for me. But then, let's talk about the fact that the governor of Benue State, we are aware that about 13 were abducted, even though some reports, I read some reports and then I saw 17. So we are not really sure about the exact number of persons who were abducted. I even saw a report and then someone was trying to play games with the whole abduction, to say those people who were abducted are not even Jambite. But then according to the governor now, he's trying to say that Aliyah 6 exam shift has rescued UTME candidate Narrator Dew. And then I read another story that said, they were beaten. Let me read to you that our abductors beat us, forced us to drink dirty water. So the governor is calling for another scheduled date for them to write their exams. What do you make of this development, basically? Do you think it should be fast? Because these people are still trying to, get better mentally after the ordeal with this bandits.
First, one of the things that was surprising was that JAMB and the Benue State government, at the initial state of the issue, denied it. They both denied that the abducted victims were not Jambites. So, but when new evidence started coming up on the media, people started finding out the real facts. Then they admitted, and then there were variations again. At the time of nation, there's still variation in the stories. Did it happen this? It didn't happen this way, and also. But the issue is that 1, they were abducted. 2, some of them were Jambites. 3, they missed their exams, and 4, there's an admission now. So, and 5th, there's a rescue. They've been rescued and recovered. So I was really pleased with the Operation Swell Swell Strike. I think that was put in place to recover. It was swift. I was really impressed at how swift it was. Within 2 to 3 days. Was it 2 to 3 days? Let's say a week. They were recovered. That's very
even
rare.
Up to a week.
That's very rare in Nigeria. So yeah, I would applaud the military for that. But then the issue of for me, I believe it's just Benue State trying to put forth a good reputation. And then the issue of them writing their exams. Yeah, it's a nice one that their exam was. They are given a chance to write the exam. However, like you said, it's just okay. to give them time to recover mentally, psychologically from what the ordeal they went through. Even if it's a day they were abducted for, you're psychologically imbalanced at that moment. So yeah, time should be given to them, even a month. I mean, admission process will not start soon. So a month should be given to them at least.
All right, let's talk about the system now. Can we not come up with a system where people can write exams in their own state instead of traveling? Because I know that some students intentionally will not register on time because they want to export, they want to travel to other states to write their exam. And how do I know this? Some persons will come to the cafe, they'll say, is Ibadan full? Is Oyo State full? Is this place full? Is Osun State full? Because I'm going to the north too. I've seen it happen severally at the cafe, basically. Yeah. Because they want to explore. So can we draft a system where people can write in their state to avoid stories that touch, basically?
Yeah, we have the system. The issue is the facilities.
Okay.
We have the system. The system is that the earlier you register, the higher your chances of being drafted to your state.
Okay.
But if you register late, you'll be drafted to a nearby state, which facility are not yet filled.
Okay.
So, for example, now in Ibadan, let's say you applied and you chose Ibadan your form. If at the time the Ibadan facilities are filled up, what they do then is that they move you to, let's say, a nearby town or city, which has enough facility but not enough candidacy, so that you can fill up that side. So that's the issue. The issue is not really, the intention is not to transport, to just throw people around. The issue is that once the state you feel is filled, they then move you to the nearby state. So we have the system. In fact, the system is good because then you can move people around, but it's the facility. So what we should question is the increase in facilities being put in place. So then another thing that can be put in place is, of course, they allow this privatization of it. They allow some private bodies to.
I know quite a few in
but there should be an expansion to it. We have a lot of cyber centers, I mean, all around the city, but they are not being tapped for this. So they should increase their network. That's just it.
Basically. And I think it's been a while I heard students complain about, their system, not working.
Yeah, the system is good.
That has been,
things
addressed.
are better.
Right.
It's just the facilities.
Okay. Let's cross to another headline. Let's talk about APC a bit. It says 2027 battle lines. APC may scrap consensus plan in flashpoint state, because a lot is going on, especially, let me read these riders to you. A party may side with governors as Ventiri, Ribadu, Sule, Abdurazak, Kam, deadlocks. President may step in to resolve impasse in Nasarawa, Kwara, Adamawa, majorly those three states. A lot is going on about this whole consensus candidate. They're trying to see, before this person defected to the party, we were there. We managed things. So why is it that now that this person is now in our party, you want to take certain things over our head? So these are the issues now. This consensus thing. Do you think the president has the capacity to actually deal with this? Because just like one of the writers, he wants to step in to ensure that, they scrap this consensus totally, that people would go through the primaries the right way, and of course, whosoever we emerge will be the best person to, the flag bearer.
So, okay, just to confirm, you're saying that Tinubu wants to hold the primaries?
Yeah, he wants to step in to actually cancel the
consensus.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, of course, the primaries is usually the best way to satisfy the party. Consensus brings grievances. That's the fact. But however, there have been times that consensus has actually made headway. For example, now Lagos, Ogun State, and Oyo State, they've been subjected to consensus. The Ogun State candidate, that's the Ogun State Western Senatorial candidate, who is now the Ogun State APC gubernatorial candidate. Lagos, the current deputy governor, has been appointed. Why in Oyo State is Shafar Aliu.
Sharafadin Ali.
Thank you. So the consensus, and there has not been any issue. It's been fine with them.
But are you sure that's the final say of APC in Oyo State?
No. I believe so. I believe really? It's not. But like, is where the APC is tilting towards.
There could still be a primaries.
But then, if there are primaries, in fact, if there are primaries, I still see imagine. Is it what do you want to talk about the other candidacy? It's nothing. So, but now coming to the issue of Tinubu stepping in, I think Tinubu is the one everybody in APC looks up to now. Everyone looks up to. So wherever I say stands. So if he says the primary stand, no one dares him. So if he says the primary stands, the primary stands. If he says the consensus stands, the consensus stands. However, we see that in the north, consensus is not accepted. You see that what they really want is that there are a lot of factions who want a lot of things. Now the defection is affecting them.
Okay.
Like you said, someone just came in and you're lording it over me. How? So yeah, let's see what Tinubu will do.
But for presidency, do you think there's going to be primaries?
What?
No, there could be.
No one dares.
Okay, I remember 2023, there was primaries. I think the former vice president, Yemi Osinbajo, had to slug it out.
And
right?
he showed him. And he showed him.
He showed
him.
Okay.
So no one dares him at this time.
Okay.
I mean, what have you seen contest? I mean, what have you seen?
I've not heard of any.
So it's a no-brainer.
But never say never.
I say never. I say never.
You say never. Okay, no problem. Let's cross to another headline and talk about that before we go. Let's talk about El-Rufai. El-Rufai alleged plot to stop release, basically. Don't forget that, he has quite a number of charges against him. And then something funny happened last week. It was a bit of drama. One of the courts said, okay, we are granting you a bail, while the other court said, okay, no, we are going to postpone. So basically, in just 1 minute, what do you make of this, a case, speaking about El-Rufai, basically?
Yeah, Rufai is just getting what he played out for. He's take the card and he's getting it. He's like poker.
Okay.
If you go all in, you get all in. You lose all in. If you go all out, you lose all out. So that's what is happening to him. So, if whatever is being done to him, I know he's ready for it, because of course, he's been subjugated.
Okay.
But then he gets it. All the best to him.
All right.
We
Okay.
wish him the best.
A big thanks to you, Emmanuel Abiola Oladile, for being a part of the segment today. We do hope that we'll talk about some of the things that you mentioned. We are so sure of, later before the elections. And of course, Leon this, thank you for being a part of the segment. We take a short break. When we come back, we move on to Big Story. I'm Oluwayemi Adelakun. Please stay with us.
Good morning and welcome to The Big Story, your trusted platform for deep, thought-provoking conversations on the issues shaping our nation. Today we confront the difficult and deeply emotional question, one that sits at the intersection of national security and human lives. Across Nigeria's conflict zones, particularly in the Northeast, the fight against insurgency has intensified. Military operations continue in bid to dismantle terrorist networks and restore peace. But amid these efforts, a troubling reality keeps surfacing, reports of civilian casualties. Are these tragic losses unavoidable, consequences of war, or signs of deeper flaws in our counterterrorism approach? Today, we ask civilian casualties in terrorism, counterterrorism. Are Nigerians paying the price? That's a very big question. Samson Balogo is my name, and I say thank you for joining us. Now, counterterrorism operations are by nature complex and high risk. Security forces are often deployed in difficult terrains, facing enemies who blend into civilian populations and exploit vulnerabilities. But recent events have brought this issue into even sharper focus. So just days ago, a Nigerian military airstrike targeting suspected insurgents reportedly struck a busy market in Bordeaux-Yobe axis, leading to devastating civilian casualties. Eyewitness accounts describe a scene of chaos and loss. Traders, women, and children caught in the blast while going about their daily lives. While military authorities have maintained that the strike was based on credible intelligence aimed at disrupting terrorist activities, the scale of civilian impact has raised serious concerns nationwide. In fact, the military said, if you were at that market at that time, you are not a saint. And this is not an isolated case. Over the years, similar incidents have been reported, often linked to challenges such as faulty intelligence, misidentification, and the complex nature of fighting insurgents who operate within civilian communities. This is the dilemma of modern warfare. In a conflict where enemy hides in plain sight, how do you neutralize threats without endangering innocent lives? And for many Nigerians in affected regions, the fear of is no longer one-dimensional. It is not just about insurgents, but also about the risk of being caught in the crossfire of operations meant to protect them. Every civilian casualty forces us to confront critical questions. Are intelligence systems reliable enough? Are operational safeguards sufficient? And when mistakes occur, is accountability guaranteed? Because beyond strategy and security briefings, are real people, families shattered, communities grieving, and the trust in institutions being tested. So, balancing the urgency of national security with sanctity of human life remains one of the most difficult challenges of our time. So this morning, we go beyond headlines to examine this delicate balance. And to help us unpack this issue is Dr. Kunle Okunla. He's a security expert, and he joins us on this table this morning with his wealth of experience. Dr. Kunle Okunla, thank you for joining us once again.
Thank you for having me. Good morning, good people of Nigeria.
In modern day counterterrorism, especially in asymmetric warfare, how common are civilian casualties?
All right, thank you very much. I would like to first of all establish the fact that there is no way that Nigerian army or any military of any nation, can promise a total free, human casualties in this kind of asymmetric war that Nigeria has been fighting. There is no way there will be casualties. It happened in United States, it happened in Colombia, it happens in Turkey. Anywhere in the world where there is an asymmetric war like this, there must be human casualties. And it has never been the intention of the Nigerian army to cause any harm or death, to any civilian citizen of Nigeria in fighting insecurity in Nigeria. But unfortunately, it has happened over and over again, and that's where we have to critically look at the cause so as to find, a cure to it. And here is the thing: the core argument that airstrike intended for terrorist targets have repeatedly resulted in civilian deaths, and this erodes public trust in the military. Critics says the military rules of engagement and intelligence gathering is faulty. And Nigerian Army, vis-a-vis the Nigerian Air Force Defense, have maintained that airstrike is based on intelligence gathered, on terrorist location and logistics. And they've also said that terrorists often embed themselves within civilian population, which complicate operation. You will understand that the Boko Haram, the ISWAP, and these bandits that we are fighting, they are not static. They are always mobile, moving from place to place within a short time. So the intelligence gathered must be quickly processed and must be found to be accurate, because any space of time between the time the intelligence is gathered, processed, and action is taken, anything could have happened. They could have moved away from that location. And that is why some of us felt that a process of gathering information, processing, and reacting on the information gathered is archaic. Archaic in the sense that, when you get that information, you can't act on that information, immediately. You have to process it to make sure it's authentic. At least it will take a day or two, okay? And for an attack to be launched also, it takes strategized coordination, and that takes some time also. And we are fighting, enemies that are not static, that are moving. So a day or two, things will have changed. And also don't forget that, nowadays, these bandits, find themselves living even with the locals, because from past experiences, locals seems to have more trust in the bandits than even the Nigerian army, because when there is a mistake, an airstrike mistake, the way the military handle the locals is not good enough. There is no support, for the victims. There is, so the locals find solace,
in the
bandits, accommodating them and even giving them information, So that's why some of us felt that that process is archaic. It's obsolete. It has to have been changed. Early this month, or towards the end of last month, the International Terrorism Index, rankings of nations came, and Nigeria found herself on number 4 on the list. Pakistan
from 6 to
4. Pakistan number 1, then Burkina Faso, then Niger Republic, and Nigeria. And immediately, within 2 weeks, Burkina Faso, stood up and plumped into action. And today, throughout Burkina Faso, from Ouagadougou to major cities, there are 43 intelligence gathering centers, and what they do is that from that air-conditioned, room, all right, where cameras and TVs and things are placed, the military aides could view all the actions taking place in the vast forest and the desert. And what they do is that they send drones, to parade the vicinity, giving them, accurate pictures and videos of the location and what is happening now. And when they have to take action, they don't send human military, they send drones that are loaded with missiles and bombs to that location. So immediately the information is gathered, action is taken through drones. All right, number one, no time is lost. Number two, no human life. Look at the rate at which we're losing, our gallant officers at the front line is enormous.
So men will now do cleanup duties.
They will now do cleanup duties. And as of yesterday, I was checking. I discovered that they said almost 80% of the bandits and terrorists, that are found Burkina Faso's a place to stay, have left. And where would they go? They come to us here because we don't have such program. If Burkina Faso could do it, we can do it. I know some of us we argue that you can't compare the landmass of Burkina Faso.
So do we have the resources
to Nigeria? And also, yes, our resources can't be compared to that of Burkina Faso. You understand? And so what I said is that let's start from a place. Let's start from Zambeza forest. Let's start from all the government reserved areas, forest that we know that these bandits resides in. Let's send drones. Let's have
credible intel.
Let's have centers wherein we can get accurate and timely intelligence that we can act upon.
Now let me ask you. This brings us to this question.
Yeah.
Do the Nigerian military have a clear rule of engagement, especially in this kind of asymmetric warfare?
The rule of engagement of Nigeria, all right, in this asymmetric war is faulty. It's quite faulty. I actually did a little bit of research, and I discovered that since 2015, the number of mistakes that had happened, air strikes and military attack, mistakes that had happened, and the number of lives of civilians that
lost as a result of that.
As a result of that was enormous. It was enormous. Somebody was saying 2,000, it was even more than that. And so we cannot continue like that. This is a military that is meant to protect the people. Now it's a killing machine, on the people. In 2017, January, ran IDP camp Borno State, casualty at least 50 people killed and 120 injured. And what happened was that a fighter jet struck an internally displaced person camp where 8 workers and people died. And that is enormous, because these are people that have been displaced from their homes, and
they ran away from this.
From this,
and they came to meet them there.
And who is now killing them? Not the bandits that they ran away from, but the soldiers that are meant to protect them. That was 2017. In 2021, Daban, Masarawa, Borno State, dozens of civilians, close to 120, mostly fishermen, were killed. The Nigerian Air Force said the strike targeted an Islamic State West African province camp, and that fishing is banned in that area. All right? Just like what they are saying now, that if you are found in that market where the strike took place, then that people are not supposed to be there. If you want to do a clear up in an area, okay, and that's the major market of that community, what other alternative have you provided?
According to the governor of Borno State, Babangana Umaru Zulu, he said for the last 5 years, that market had been shut down.
Okay.
That nobody should trade at that market.
Okay.
And then they discovered that bandits were using that avenue to trade. So civilians were going there to sell their goods at maybe 3 or 4 times the price to bandits. Meaning that terrorism is not about. It's not just about.
See that there is coordination. There is greed. There is greed.
So we were saying terrorism is not just about carrying guns and killing people. Financing terrorism, supplying aids, it's also terrorism.
It's also terrorism.
So that was why they said, if you were found at that market at that time, you are not clean.
But I will have argued that since you knew that civilians are doing that, what steps have been taken, in the space of 5
I was about to ask you this,
stop
that same
Yes.
question, and then I wanted to link it with another question.
Yes.
That what were the clear rules in case of an attack on a crowded market like that? What should have been safeguards in place to avert this kind of crisis?
There are times that strikes, military strikes have been aborted when you assess the
extent of the damage.
The extent of the damage. There are times like that. Because when you want to take out bandits and you, in turn, were taking out, civilians, you have not done a good job. I mean, you have actually helped the bandits to do their job. So, the rule of engagement, there are rule of engagement for every military strikes. When you weigh it and you discover that the extent of damage is going to be more on the part of the civilian than the military. All right. What the tactical rule says is that about that engagement, and there are a specific jets, that strike specifically. You wonder how
pinpoint the locations.
The location that it goes directly to where you want it to land. You wonder how the what's the name of this president that was taken out by the United States recently?
Barack Obama.
No. This president that was taken out by the in his house. Okay. I've forgotten. Recently. You wonder how there was a strike, and it went because of
that was the Iranian president.
Because he wanted to be safe. The house was built amid civilians. But the strike came directly to that location. That's guided missiles, and you have to be trained. It's not just enough buying fighting jets, buying Turkina, jets and things like that. They're very good, but are we properly trained on the use of it? That's the main problem. If you know that you cannot guide that missile to the exact target, then abort the mission, okay, and re-strategize. If the bandits are with the people, they are not always going to be with the people, and that is why on ground response, is also very important. But who will give the on-ground intelligence is the people. But the people have lost trust in the government. So that is the problem that we're having. So to answer your questions, there are two ways to do that. We can be 20A, all right. And if the target is one person, all right, there is a way that you can take away that person alone. If the missile or the bomb is guided properly, and the casualties on the civilians will be minimal. But if you know you cannot do that, all right, for the sake of the people that are there, abort the mission.
So this brings us to the case of accountability.
Yeah.
Now, if, for example, just like it happened in Borno, Yobe, and then there was, according to some reports, that some civilians lost their lives as a result of that airstrike on bandits in that region.
Yeah.
So do you think the Nigerian military has been honest enough when it comes to giving out information about airstrikes, and of course when it comes to warfare in the country?
I don't think that the Nigerian military have been truly been accountable enough. The Nigerian military has generally attributed these, errors to intelligence, errors, poor visibility, or terrorists operating among civilians, and investigations and boards of inquiry have been announced after several incidents. All right. But nobody hears anything again after that. It's not good enough, to just announce a investigating board. Okay. But let's know the result of the investigation, because this will help us to prevent other occurrences. So Nigerian military have not been truthful enough with the people of Nigeria. Many times they play down on the number of lives lost, or they shift the blame back to the people. And when they cannot do that, they give excuses like intelligence error, poor visibility, and things like that. So I don't think Nigerian military has been truthful enough, with the people when it comes to misguided strikes.
Okay. Now, could the repeat of misguided airstrikes, casualties when it comes to warfare in the country against insurgency, could it fuel resentment amongst the people and also fuel recruitment into banditry?
Of course, it is already, fueling resentments, among the people. There's what is called, in military term, double victimization. You're afraid of the terrorists, and you are even afraid also of the soldiers that are supposed to protect you. And that's double victimization. And because the presence of the government is not readily felt in those communities, like the presence of the bandits, the people put their trust more, all right, on the terrorists, to the extent that they are giving terrorists intelligence. Look at some of the military bases that have been raided, and our gallant officers killed. These are informations given to terrorists by the locals, and whose fault is the fault of the government of Nigeria and the military. Okay, in other nations of the world, as I said when I started, that there is no way any military anywhere could eradicate totally, civilian casualties. But when civilian casualties happens, okay, like in America, that they set up a panel of inquiry within the military that look into the casualties, all right? And once the panel finish the investigation, it is published, publicly, and compensations are made immediately, all right? So this gives the people a sense of belonging and gives them more trust in the military and the government, that you care about us. We don't have that in Nigeria. If people that have been taken to IDP that are always crying because they are not well fed, we're not well catered for. There are instances in Benue State where bandits will go to the IDP, and kill people. They are not fortressed, and things like that. Then, to your second point, can it encourage recruitment, even of young people in the locals? Yes, it can. It can. Look at what happened in southwest. Yeah, I mean, not northwest, in Sokoto, when Lakurawa came. The locals, the young boys, were being recruited, and they're giving them 1 million naira, for joining, and they pay
like a sign-on fee.
Yeah, sign-on fee, and they put them on monthly salary. Okay,
like proper employment.
Proper employment, and those guys could not resist it, because there are graduates that have never in their life, counted, 1 million naira, their own money, and this is a sign-on fee, and there are other entitlements, monthly entitlements. This is what the government should be doing, and when the government is not doing it, you are encouraging people, to join bandits, and on a daily basis, the number of bandits keeps increasing. the effrontery, the boldness that they have these days, it's on another level. You know, those days, 2015, 2016, when there was whenever there was, you know, a strike by the bandits, you know, we have to be asking for this. Who did this? Is it ISWAP? Is it ISIS? Is it Boko Haram? Or Lakurawa? Eventually, maybe after some days, they might just issue that it is done by so person.
In fact, there are times they come out, they claim their strikes, their attacks by themselves. That is not so people.
That it's us that did it. But these days, you know, their effrontery, when they are dealing with their captured maybe civilians, recently they captured some military guys. They videoed the way they were dealing with them, and they put it on social media, you know. And this boy that was University of Jos boy that was taken, I learned that he was killed yesterday, you know, after collecting ransom. The detail was on social media, all right. And this is a vicinity in Nigeria, all right. And there are not systems that could track. You know, locate the location or the message that was sent from where was it sent?
How was the ransom received?
How was it received and things like that? You know, we only hear that ransom was paid, ransom was exchanged. You know, they are not. It's a bit confusing, because when you go to some other parts of the world and you see a well-coordinated military activities, and you come here, you hear of these things, you are like, are we still back in the 1900 or 1901? Look at the you know, impact that Burkina Faso is making today.
Dr. Kunle-Kola, let me ask you this just before we go. Some have said Nigeria relies heavily on ground operation.
Yeah.
Some have said that we rely too much on air power.
Yeah.
Which one should be the best approach, especially when you are fighting this kind of war against terrorism in Nigeria?
When you are fighting this kind of a war against terrorism, this asymmetric warfare that the enemies are, you know, mobile, they are not static. They change locations.
And they hide in plain sight.
Yes.
They live amongst civilians.
They live amongst civilians. You know, most of the time, the airstrike is the best strategy to employ. It reduces loss of lives of the human lives, okay, especially of the military personnel. You understand? But you have to be very, very accurate, and that's why you have to have on ground, you know, informants. That is, if we are not using drones, the best thing to do is to use drones to gather information.
There are people called double agents.
Yes.
They work for criminals. They work for the military. Or
Yeah.
sometimes in some cases counterterrorism units in some countries. Do we even have something like that in the country? Because if we do, we would most likely have genuine data, genuine intelligence that can help Nigeria wipe out insurgency once and for all.
We are not.
Are we not that advanced?
We are not learning.
Do we have infiltration skills into these sleeper cells?
Yes, we do. We are not learning from our past mistakes, and that's what makes it so terrible. Because since 2015, we should have learned one or two lessons. There shouldn't be misguided airstrike mistake in 2026 again. There shouldn't be. Our information gathering system is faulty. The rule of engagement is faulty, and the effect, you know, that the impact that, you know, the damage has on the people, all right, it's enormous, because the government vis-a-vis the military is not doing enough. It's not doing enough, you know. So we have We have resources. We are not using the resources wisely. Okay? We know how much the president, Tinubu invested in this in the last budget, in fighting insecurity. We know how much the former president Buhari invested in buying, weapons and ammunitions, but we are not using it very well. And that is because some of us sincerely, truly believe that there are people, even within the government, in the military, in the police, among the elites, the politicians, that are part of the actively involved financiers.
Okay.
All right? Because every time names are mentioned, nothing is done. Recently, the federal government, mentioned, we are expecting drastic action to be taken. By now, there should have been arrest. Nothing is done, so far. And so, we are not really sure if we really want this war to end.
In 30 seconds, Dr. Kunle Okola, before we go. After the Civil War, between 1970s and 1980s, the police lost primary control of intelligence gathering in Nigeria. So, there was creation of the State Security Service, SSS, DSS. They also had the National Intelligence Agency, NIA, Defense Intelligence Agency, DIA. We had all this, and yet we still go about with misinformation, wrong intelligence, killings of Nigerians by mistake in the name of fighting terrorism and insurgency. In 30 seconds, are we doing the right thing by creating multiple agencies on intelligence alone, and we are still not functioning that well?
When we had the branch in the police, that's the department that is responsible for gathering intelligence, all right, we were more successful in fighting terrorism, you understand, security challenges than when we have multiple.
Where did we go wrong in 30 seconds?
We went wrong because we did not put the right peg in the right hole. The military is not fundamentally responsible for gathering information, as it were. There should be a department that gets information for them to act upon. So it's a misplaced priority. And as long as we are not getting right intelligence that are processed, for effective operations, we'll still keep on having this issue.
Thank you, Dr. Kunle Okola, for sharing your insight on the show this morning.
Thank you very much.
That's been a wonderful session with you.
Thank you.
And as Nigeria continues its fight against terrorism, one truth stands out. Security must not only be about defeating threats, but also about protecting the people at the heart of it all. The real question is not just how we win the war, but at what cost? And that's the big story this morning. I am Samson Balogun, wishing you a safe, reflective day. Stay informed, stay engaged, and above all, stay safe. Up next is Trend Watch.
Welcome back. Thank you for staying with us this morning. Of course, we are back to talk about what's trending in the world of politics in Nigeria. And I'm back with Samson on set. What we have is this story. Are we beat Tinubu flat in an election? There can never be a worse president than President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. We must send Tinubu away. That's coming from Dino Melaye. So I think I watched a bit of the interview, and then at some point he said, anybody who has maybe who wants to contest under the ADC for the presidency can actually beat Tinubu. And then the interviewer said, can you beat President Bola Ahmed Tinubu? And he said, yes, flat. I can beat him flat. And then he was very confident, while he was saying that. And of course, people have been reacting online, especially Nigerians, from even members of the ADC even reacted to say, this one is a little bit foul. Are you really sure of this that you have said? So basically, that's what we have this morning.
Well, there's this particular saying in Yoruba, and I really wouldn't want to go about it. I will just brief it. Everyone thinks highly of themselves, right? And if you can think it, so they say you can do it. But sometimes you can think it and say it and not be able to do it. And in the case of Dino Melaye, I think that's the biggest joke you can have anywhere. Okay. And the truth is, if you take a deep look at Dino Melaye's career as a politician, there was a time he was on the floor of the House just recently as a senator. And he had an issue with the current First Lady, who was also a senator at that time from Lagos State. And he did not survive the onslaught that came, political onslaught that came after that. He lost his ticket, he lost his seat as a senator, and he could not return back, to the floor of the House. At least he contested and lost. So that tells you that sometimes there are people you just, you let them leave. You leave them to the fact that they are bigger and that they have more capacity than you do. However, when you talk about politics in Nigeria, as it stands, opposition will always have something to say. And that's the job of opposition. You come out, especially when you are saying the right things, and you are doing the right things, and you are playing the right kind of opposition politics. For me, I don't think we have any opposition in Nigeria right now that are seriously performing serious opposition work, because it has been about personality and not politics, and not constructive criticism. We have seen people talking about personality, the person of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, but nobody is really talking about what should be done differently. And if you look at the caucus of people in the ADC, where Dino Melaye belonged, during the campaigning period before the election, they all said they were going to remove fuel subsidy. This man removed fuel subsidy. So the question that was asked, someone asked Peter Obi recently and said, look, what would you have done differently? Because you said that you were going to remove fuel subsidy. The same thing this man has done. And
I think he said, in his defense, he said, yeah, he would have removed it as well, but he would have put certain things in place. But then what are those things that you would have put in place?
Did he mention any?
The subsidy.
Did he mention any?
I mean, it speaks to the issues.
We have to go beyond playing politics blindly in Nigeria. We have to be constructive, and if you have reasons to say, if you look at the UK, for example, that's why you have the Conservatives and the likes. You have Kemi Badino. When there is an issue, okay, she will come back to say, you should have done it this way. We would have done it this way if we were in power. That is what opposition, you put them on their toes and not just criticize without having solution. If you continue, even as a prophet, if you continue to see vision and there is no solution, you're as good as a doomsday prophet, okay? So we have to be constructive, and Dino Melaye has every right to his own, opinion as a person. I guess we should take one comment or two before we go.
Before we leave.
Okay, we're talking about comments this morning, Yemi.
Lekon Johnson is saying, Dino Melaye said it with full confidence, but in Nigerian politics, the gap between what's said in April and what happens on election day is wider than the Niger Delta.
Okay, last one. Let's take one last comment. I think that's coming from Wealth. It says, but you can get back into Senate and you want to beat PBAT in an election. Is this the leaders ADC relied on that uses Atiku campaign fund, but to buy apartments in Dubai? Maybe, okay, that one is quite heavy. But of course, he tried to make the point I made earlier about the fact that he could not survive the political onslaught that came after he had an issue with the wife of the current president.
One thing is certain, I don't see him contesting. He just said that, I don't know, maybe because the interviewer asked that question. I remember I used some Yoruba words, anopa, anobule. Well, good luck to Dino Melaye.
Maybe he should give it a try anyway. Let's see what will happen. He should contest against the president. Well, it's a convenient point to leave it on the show this morning. We say thank you for joining us on the show so far. Do not forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel at Dominion Broadcast and our Facebook page at Dominion Broadcast Television. Leave us a comment. We'll take them. And we've got interesting shows lined up for you on this dial today. All right, as I always say on this show, if you see something, say something. Security business is everybody's business. Samson Balogo is minding. And until tomorrow, when we shall be meeting again, same host, same station, 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. I say bye for now.
And Amuluwayemi Adelako, thank you for being a part of the show. Today is Monday, at the beginning of the week. Do well to do something great with this week. Bye for now.